The North-South divide, which has always existed, certainly subconsciously it has, but it's now getting divided, it's getting accentuated further, and it's become the political talk of town. Certainly in South India it has. Leaders from South India, whether it's Siddaramaiah, are all feeling aggrieved that their respective states contribute far more to the national tax kitty, and yet they receive far less from the central government compared to northern states. But this is not the only political comment we've got. Chandrababu Naidu started this off when he pulled out his ministers from the NDA government a few weeks ago, where he said that the central government is basically using tax revenue from the southern states to fund northern states. South India, the 5 states of South India, contribute almost a third in taxes to the central kitty. Chandrasekhar Rao, the Telangana chief minister, and he's speaking for his state, he says Telangana contributed more than 50,000 crores in direct and indirect taxes to the central kitty in 2016-17, but instead the state received less than half of that. M.K. Stalin, the DMK working president, has written to at least 10 chief ministers, including chief ministers of the 5 southern states, that the allocation of funds by the centre is a travesty and that they need to form a collective. Here's a collection of sound bites from politicians both in South India as well as in North India as to why this divide is getting accentuated. All right, let's leave aside what the politicians are saying. Is there merit to what they're saying purely from a money/economics point of view? So if you are an individual tax-paying resident, if you're living in, say, Chennai or Bengaluru or Hyderabad, let's just break this down for what this means for you. How much money are you giving to the central government and how much are you getting in return? Let's take, for example, the state of Karnataka. If you were to divide the entire amount of taxes that Karnataka pays to the central government, both direct and indirect taxes, and then divide that by the population of Karnataka, it works out to about 19,000 rupees per individual taxpayer in the state of Karnataka. What the central government gives Karnataka in the form of subsidies, grants and so on and so forth is only 6,300 rupees. So there's a difference of over 12,000 rupees for each individual resident of the state of Karnataka between what is taxed on him or her and what he or she receives from the central government. Same is the case with the state of Tamil Nadu. Individual taxpayers, if you were to divide it out with every single citizen of the state of Tamil Nadu, an individual taxpayer pays on an average 18,500 rupees to the central government. What you get in return is 6,200 rupees. The shortfall is about 12,300 rupees per individual taxpayer. Even in Kerala, you'll be paying 12,600 rupees. Every individual taxpayer will be paying 12,600 rupees to the central kitty. You're getting in return a little less than 7,000 bucks, the difference being 5,700. This, remember, are figures from the RBI and the Ministry of Finance. So if you're an individual taxpayer, it seems like you have a lot to be aggrieved of. Now, you juxtapose this with the northern states. In the state of Bihar, for example, if you were to divide the total tax paid by the state of Bihar, direct and indirect taxes, and divide that by the population of Bihar, each individual taxpayer in Bihar will be paying 7,200 rupees. What the central government gives to the state of Bihar in the form of special packages, in the form of subsidies, aid, grants, etc., works out to about 30,400 rupees for every single citizen in the state of Bihar, every single resident in the state of Bihar. So, per individual, an average Bihari gets 23,200 rupees more from the central government than what is taxed from that state. Take the case with Uttar Pradesh. Each individual taxpayer in Uttar Pradesh pays 7,000 rupees to the central government. Instead, the central government gives them, through different routes and different forms, whether it's subsidies or aid or grant, 11,200 rupees. That's a net gain of 4,200 rupees. So this is why leaders in South India, same is the case with Rajasthan, by the way, this is why leaders in South India are aggrieved. They feel that their individual taxpayers in their respective states are contributing way more to the central kitty and they're not getting enough. Instead, they feel much of that money is being given to the northern states. So the question they are asking is the South effectively simply only subsidizing the North? Leave the politics aside for 1 second. You're an economist, right? So let me just purely talk from a point of view of numbers. And by the way, I mean, as much as you say this is a Congress-inspired propaganda or whatever, Chandrababu Naidu is the one who started it. He's not a congressman. KCR backed it up. He's neither a congressman. But let me purely go by numbers, okay? For every 1 rupee of tax, 1 rupee of tax that a resident in Andhra Pradesh pays to the central government, both direct and indirect taxes, what he or she gets in return is 67 paise. That's a loss of 33%. In Karnataka, for every rupee of tax that a resident of Karnataka pays to the government of India, they get in return 47 paise. That's a loss of 53%. In Kerala, for every rupee that a taxpayer pays to the central government, he or she gets back 25 paise. That's a 75% loss. And in Tamil Nadu, it's 40 paise for every rupee. That's a 60% loss. Isn't that a grievance? Isn't that a genuine grievance? Let's leave the politics aside. Purely talk from a point of view of numbers. Done an interview with Dr. Thomas Isaac, who is the finance minister of Kerala. And I think he's saying that all the finance ministers of the 5 southern states plus Puducherry will be meeting in the first week of April to find a collective strategy to try and get a better deal from the central government. Is there a feeling, DP, that this is being done to restrict the BJP, to restrict Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah and the BJP as a Hindi North India party, a Hindi, Hindu, Hindustan kind of party? Is that the politics? I don't think anybody in South India, is saying that, oh, we want to secede from the nation, oh, the central government is, stacked up against us. Nobody is saying that. What they are making is a basic economic argument. Nobody in South India is saying we want to form a separate country. All that they are saying is simple, basic arithmetic, basic math. We pay 10 rupees to the government, government gives us 5 rupees. Who makes us for the 5 rupees shortfall? I'm really sorry that even on an issue such as this, which is primarily an economic argument that's being put forth by some chief ministers in South India, and perhaps there's a grievance there, is being reduced that we face, whether in the north or whether in the south.